Throughout human history, we have witnessed remarkable achievements in art, science, and civilization. Yet beneath the surface of our collective past lies a darker narrative, one that reveals the capacity for profound cruelty, systematic oppression, and unspeakable atrocities. Today we explore some of the most haunting chapters in our shared history, not to sensationalize suffering, but to understand how these events shaped our world and continue to influence our present. The concept of dark history encompasses more than isolated incidents of violence. It represents systematic patterns of human behavior that have repeated across cultures, continents, and centuries. These events share common threads: the dehumanization of entire populations, the abuse of power by those in authority, and the complicity of ordinary people who chose silence over resistance. One of history's most documented examples of systematic darkness occurred during the Transatlantic slave trade, which operated for over 4 centuries. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, an estimated 12 million Africans were forcibly transported to the Americas under conditions so brutal that nearly 2 million perished during the journey alone. This enterprise was not the product of individual cruelty, but rather a carefully orchestrated economic system that reduced human beings to commodities. The psychological and social wounds inflicted by this period continue to affect societies worldwide, demonstrating how historical darkness extends far beyond its immediate time frame. The 20th century witnessed perhaps the most mechanized and deliberate forms of human destruction in recorded history. The Holocaust stands as a terrifying example of how advanced societies can descend into barbarism. The systematic murder of 6 million Jewish people, alongside millions of others deemed undesirable by Nazi ideology, was carried out with industrial efficiency. What makes this period particularly chilling is not just the scale of the atrocity, but the way ordinary citizens, professionals, and intellectuals became complicit in or willfully ignorant of the machinery of death operating within their communities. Similarly, the Armenian Genocide of 1915 to 1923 saw the Ottoman Empire systematically eliminate over 1 million Armenians through deportations, mass executions, and forced marches into the desert. The Rwandan Genocide of 1994 demonstrated how quickly neighbor could turn against neighbor, resulting in the deaths of approximately 800,000 people in just 100 days. These events reveal a disturbing truth about human nature: the thin veneer of civilization that separates ordered society from chaos. The dark chapters of history also include the deliberate destruction of indigenous cultures worldwide. From the residential school systems in North America that forcibly separated children from their families and cultures, to the colonial exploitation that decimated populations across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. These systematic efforts to erase entire ways of life represent a form of cultural annihilation that reverberates through generations. Understanding dark history requires us to confront uncomfortable truths about power structures, prejudice, and the human capacity for both evil and indifference. These events did not occur in isolation or through the actions of a few aberrant individuals. They were enabled by economic systems, political structures, and social attitudes that allowed atrocities to flourish. Perhaps most importantly, studying these dark chapters teaches us to recognize the warning signs when they appear in our own time. History's greatest tragedies were rarely sudden explosions of violence, but rather gradual erosions of human dignity and rights that ordinary people chose to ignore until intervention became impossible. By examining our darkest moments with honesty and courage, we honor the memory of those who suffered and strengthen our resolve to prevent such horrors from recurring. The shadows of history remind us that vigilance, empathy, and moral courage are not luxuries, but necessities for any civilization that hopes to survive its own capacity for darkness.